swimming pools. What makes them scary? Some would say drowning. Others would say cleaning it can be a nightmare. How do you make such an ordinary icon of the suburban backyard scary? Maybe a demonic presence? Today we're venturing into uncharted territory, haunted swimming pools. Night Swim. This movie came out in early January, and it's now mid-February. I remembered seeing the trailer for this movie while I was at the movie theaters watching a movie called Thanksgiving, and that's been several months ago. While I was there and I saw this trailer, I thought to myself, well, this looks pretty stupid. I wasn't wrong, but between November and February, I just completely forgot about this movie. That was until months later, when I was looking on the internet for new horror movies to watch, and I saw the faded words, Night Swim. There I was, faced with an opportunity to watch a movie about a haunted swimming pool, a month after everybody else already made a video on it. Needless to say, I dove at the chance. Dive like in a pool. There's going to be a lot of swimming pool talk. You could say this entire film's dialogue is entirely summed up between a few things. Pools, water stuff, and baseball. You may be asking why baseball? The main character in this movie, the father of this family, he was a professional baseball player. The movie doesn't start with this family or this character though. Instead, we get a rather plain introduction to a horror film with a seemingly unrelated family, more like little girl, introducing us to the haunted swimming pool. Quick question, how many times am I going to say the word swimming pool? If there's anyone that's autistic enough to count every time I say pool or swimming or water or anything related to backyard aquatics, let me know in the comments below. Back to the movie. The little Asian girl that I was talking about ends up going out to the swimming pool all on her own, and gets killed by it. She's just pulled into the water while trying to reach out for something, and then the lights flicker and dim, and she thinks she sees people. That's pretty much the whole movie summed up in 10 seconds, talking about the first minute of the film. It's after the little Asian girl dies that we finally get to meet the family. A horror movie always has to star a good family moving into a brand new home. This family consists of the supportive mother, the ex-baseball player dad who's really sick. I don't remember what he has, but he's not doing too good and walks around with a cane. Then you get the son, who's not hit his growth spurt yet. And don't forget the crazy daughter, who's always picking on the younger brother. You may be asking how this family gets involved in this haunted swimming pool, so let me explain. I mean, I doubt you were asking that, but this movie's about a haunted swimming pool, so we're gonna talk about it anyway. So due to ex-baseball dad being sick with some unnamed illness, which was probably named in the movie, the family needs to move closer to a medical center. While doing this, they manage to come across this home, and it's almost calling to them, so we end up eventually seeing them purchase it. Of course, you can't have a family in a horror movie move into a new home unless it's at a staggeringly low price. I wonder why it's so cheap. That's so weird. Of course we want it. Needless to say, they got it for an absolute steal. Stealing bases. It was a baseball one that time. We see the family fixing up the pool in the backyard. Part of the reason why they bought this house is because it had a pool in the backyard. The doctor, whenever Ray, the dad, was visiting them, told them that exercises like swimming could be really good for him and his illness, so we'll see that come into play later. It's here where we get almost constant scenes for the next 20 minutes of the family just talking about swimming pools and cleaning the pool and talking about water and talking about swimming pools. Goes as far as the daughter going to school, and she joins the fucking swimming team. Not only does she join the swimming team though, no, there's a song on during this that's talking about swimming and summer and pools. Everything in this movie is about swimming pools, and pools and water and pools.
You should come on Friday.
Okay.
My name's Ronan. Hey, you should come on Friday. For real, it's gonna be dope.
I struggled from here because I'm like, is this movie satire or not? I thought it was entirely satirical here. I'm actually quite unsure still if it is or isn't. I mean, the people writing this movie had to be just around making a swimming pool horror movie. If not, I'm unsure why this movie was made. You make a horror movie about swimming pools and swimming in a haunted pool, and then you release it in early January. Did you make this for an Australian audience? An Australian audience that is afraid of drowning in a swimming pool? Anyway, during the pool fixing bit, the dad gets hurt and the drain of the pool. So they call a pool guy in to come take a look at it. Here he talks about how the pool is hooked up to some aquifer or spring using groundwater, which I don't know much about swimming pools. I wasn't really raised in a household that had enough money for a 12-foot deep pool in my backyard, but that seems a little weird to me. With this pool being hooked up to groundwater, you'd assume that we'd get an interesting explanation about how this demonic presence is affecting this pool. Maybe like there's some haunted item that's in this aquifer. This groundwater is running over a burial ground, or some other stupid explanation in a horror movie, but it's never really touched on here. I guess it gives a place for the water to be haunted, but they don't try to explain it, and leaving it mysterious doesn't add anything to this movie. I would have at least liked a little bit of lore on why the water acts the way it does throughout the movie. Just some interesting little flashback or something would have been enough to take me away from whatever this movie is.
It's funny, isn't it, though? I mean, we evolved out of the water, and some part of our reptilian brain knows we're not supposed to be there anymore, but I guess that's why we try to tame it so hard. Conquer death.
Are you okay?
It's quickly after they move in and get the swimming pool up and working that the pool takes its first victim. The family cat. It doesn't just take the family cat. No, it does the exact same thing that it did to the Asian girl, but to a cat this time, which adds nothing for me. The lights flicker and a noise is playing. That's really it. Who gives a about the cat? I barely care about the family at this point in the movie, and now you're gonna have the cat be taken just for the family to go outside the next day and be like Whiskers or whatever the his name is. Where are you? Like they do in every horror film.
He probably fell in and got scared.
Cider. Come here, Cider. Cider, where'd you go?
The pool then gets another mysterious property of not just being haunted or demonic and killing people, but it almost has a fountain of youth ability to heal people and possess them. We see this with the father who cut his hand earlier in the movie before they called the pool guy in, and now his hand is just suddenly healed. This progressively gets more obvious too. Even though the father's sick, he starts walking around without his cane now, and is able to start lifting weights and exercising and shit, and we just get constant scenes of him swimming back and forth in the pool. That's his big story arc of the movie, a lot of swimming and getting better, and swimming. And swimming. After the pool grows this new superpower though, the little boy, the son of the family, goes out on his own to go swimming because his dad's too busy lifting weights and looking at videos of him playing baseball to go out and swim with him. And he gets attacked by the demon of the pool, I guess.
Let go of me!
With the son being the first person in the family to come in contact with this demonic entity inside the pool, it's not too long after that another family member comes in contact with it. No, just later that night, the daughter has one of the boys from school on the swimming team come over while her parents are gone. They go swimming, they go out and play Marco Polo.
Marco!
And we get one of the... This is so unscary and so stupid looking. Well, give me 1 second. I have to look up how much this movie cost to make before I judge it too harshly. Okay, it had a budget of $15 million, supposedly. Okay, with $15 million, this is inexcusable. While they're playing Marco Polo, the boy tries to play a little joke on her by hopping out of the pool, and this happens.
Ronan, stop, please. Marco! Polo. Gotcha. No!
Now, this is meant to be one of the biggest scares of the film. The problem is it's more laughable than it is anything else. Kind of hard for me to explain why, too. Don't worry, though, that's not the last we're going to see of fat monsters in the pool and flashing lights, though. With both the kids now having seen something weird in the pool and been attacked or whatever by it, the family decides to have a pool party at their house to invite all the new people in their neighborhood over. With our two children in the film having seen some weird shit going on there, you'd expect them to speak up and say something before this happens, but no, the daughter ends up telling the boy like, nobody will believe us anyway, just shut up, and they just stay quiet. Of course, this backfires. The pool party happens to be our big, wet summertime happening. Yeah, the dad just gets possessed by some dark water in the pool and tries to drown a kid or something. It's pretty anticlimactic. Something interesting does sort of happen for a story development, though. When the mom's asking the woman who she bought the home from, what the hell do they call those, realtors? She's asking her realtor, what's the history of this home? Even though she has no reason to ask that, other than maybe she realizes the kids are acting a little funny, but it's one scene that shows it really comes from out of nowhere, but you can tell she's awfully curious. She ends up learning that a kid drowned in the pool before, and that gives her enough concern, as well as the father trying to drown a kid, to look into it. It's here where I have a hard time trying to pick what is the dumbest scene in this movie. Is it the fat pool demon? Or is it the mother going on a big trope here and doing a little bit of investigation online to look into the history of this home? Just based on her husband acting a little funny and the kids acting a little weird, she all of a sudden has the nerve to think that the pool is haunted. I can't imagine that being a realistic thought going through someone's head. The pool is haunted. But that's the thing she goes with. They try to leave the house, and the husband ends up dying or decaying from being too far away from the pool, I assume. So they're not able to leave. She then goes on to drain the pool and go to the library and look it all up. The only thing I can really relay this to would be like The Ring and movies like that where there's a big mystery in the middle. But The Ring, the woman's going and trying to discover what the hell this tape is that says her and her son are going to die. And she's also an investigative journalist, so it kind of explains how she's able to find all this information. This woman's just a mom. There's also a moment before this or after, I'm not entirely sure, where the movie tries to place a scene of like dramatic dialogue between the mother and daughter that's all emotional and caring that just feels oddly placed. I don't think that it's trying to help us care more about the I don't understand the point of the scene, I guess. It just feels like a 2-minute long scene of them talking to each other and being like crying and, oh, I love you, I'm not gonna let anything happen to you. It just feels pointless. It actually makes me second guess on if the movie's satirical or not. A scene like this almost makes me think that the directors and writers just actually thought this was a good idea to make. I mean, if all the characters were to just walk out and step into the pool and die all at once, I'd be happy with it. Funky haunted pool movie's over, thank God. Instead, our concerned mother goes out on the investigation, showing her conviction to save her family from the threat that really hasn't shown itself at all when she actually finds the Asian family. As I said earlier, she shows up to their house, which is this fancy mansion now. When going inside, she's greeted by an old Asian lady who we can assume was the little girl's mom, who has an oxygen tank and is coughing. Well, walking inside, we see something a little strange, almost like the father of the movie from earlier when he was pulled away from the pool. Sits down in her chair next to this oddly placed fountain, really looking at that like fountain of youth idea, or at least I'd assume that's what they're getting at. She suddenly is able to take the oxygen out and just be just fine sitting there. She even pours herself a glass of water, which I can only assume is the pool water, and she's drinking it. I'm not sure. This isn't the only bit that makes us think that this family is possessed by the pool, though, because the woman goes on to explain that she had a son, too, and, I mean, we kind of see him in the introduction of the movie. He seems to be really sick, and maybe he has cancer or something. Well, now she has a picture of him on the wall, and he's a congressman and really successful, and that's why they live in this big fancy mansion. Then the woman just turning into a demon, there's all this dark liquid coming out of her faces and orifices, and she tells the mother, hey, I sacrificed my daughter to the pool so that my son would be okay, and like, I don't even know if it's really her. Maybe she's just completely possessed by the thing. Of course, the mom's all freaked out and rushes home. I should say that the demonic water, this dark water coming out of her face is kind of interesting. Like, it's a cool little idea to have this dark, nasty water come through places, but it isn't exactly a scary adversary for the film. When you think of good horror villains or what have you, monsters, I don't think of dark pool water as being one that's very high up on the list, especially one that just presents itself as a badly CGI'd, fat, drowned victim. As I said, though, if the movie's target audience is Australian people who have almost drowned in their backyard pool, I get it. I get it. On the mother's drive home, we're taken back to the house, and everything isn't going exactly pleasant back there. No, the family is coming under attack by the pool is the best way I can explain it.
Cider?
It starts with the son being pulled into the pool, wow, and dragged into this deep, dark depth. It's a cool idea. He gets pulled underneath the water and you can see the pools above him, but there's just all this black emptiness around. What they're trying to do is actually a bit scary because it's more of a larger body of endless water that's actually scary. That's the scary part of water, but it's just kind of stupid here. Just in time, the mom gets home, sees the daughter trying to save the son. They end up, I don't know, with a pool cover. They like pull the pool cover back. The mom wraps a hose around the diving board so that she can use it as a breathing apparatus to dive into the pool. Even though she can't tell that the bottom is endless, I don't know where. But she takes the breathing apparatus down, being the hose, which I doubt could work. I doubt the efficacy of this. But then she goes on to not even use it while diving into the pool to find her son. We cut back to the daughter who's going inside, looking for her dad, who's possessed, fairly obviously, and just ends up getting attacked by him. We then cut back to the mother diving into the pool, and you get all these different characters that look kind of dumb, just moving at her underwater. Most of them just like normal people that are underwater, but I think they make their teeth kind of scary looking, I guess. You also see the fat guy make another comeback, which is always a good laugh in this movie. Anyhow, they all do their perspective surviving and save everyone until they're all out of the pool and away from the dad. Not too fast though, the dad emerges from the house and tries to attack them. The son also isn't doing very good. He looks like he's possessed. But just you wait. Somehow, a baseball bat is strong enough to knock the pool demon out of the dad.
I'll always be here. It's me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
In a twisted turn of events, with the son being possessed and dying, the dad has to sacrifice himself to the pool anyway to save him. So, like, they use the pool's supernatural powers to save the son, like the family in the beginning sacrificed the daughter to make the son better. They do that in this movie, but then they talk shit about how the pool is evil. Kind of backwards, a little weird. I guess it's out of necessity here, but... So what does our family do now without their father? They pour dirt into the pool and live happily ever after. They're like, oh, we can't sell the house, it'll happen to someone else, which doesn't make sense. You could just fill the thing in with concrete, or break the concrete of the pool out and then fill that with dirt, so you're not just filling concrete in with dirt in your backyard. I don't know, one of those things would be pretty smart to do, and then just move out. Stay there where you know your dad just died in the backyard and the haunted swimming pool is a little strange, because wouldn't the water that's around still be affecting the house possibly? I don't know, man. Night Swim. What was this movie? Who did they make this movie for? And how the did they come up with this idea? A horror movie on a haunted swimming pool. I actually figured out where the idea for this movie came from, and I still feel pretty confused. Let me explain. After some internet searching, I found an interesting bit of knowledge. Night Swim is based off or inspired by a short film of the same name. I decided to look up the short film, assuming it's on YouTube like every other short horror film, and I was correct. So I watched it. To be honest, quite a few short horror films on YouTube are scarier than your average Hollywood film and are more original, well, far more original than some Hollywood concepts. But let me tell you, the short film, Night Swim, it ain't very good. This 3-minute short is about a girl in a swimming pool who dives under the water and thinks she sees her boyfriend or husband. When she pops out, nobody's there.
Hey, you're home early.
She then dives back underneath the water while out swimming at night. Night Swim, which didn't really play into this movie too much. She sees something else and pops out. Nothing's there. Dives back in. Sees something else. Pops back out. And it's like her as a drowned dead victim. And then it just ends. They look back at the water. And it's just like plop. Plop. There's a little ripple in the water and she's gone. That was the short story. Not scary. Not even that cool, really. It was alright, but did it deserve a feature-length film adaptation? No. After watching this short film, Night Swim, and watching the feature-length film, I was left with more questions than answers, and very confused. This movie was very stupid. I mean, come on, haunted swimming pool. But I think I came to a conclusion. Hollywood's running out of ideas. People will pay to go see anything at the movie theaters. I'm just at least happy to know that I live in a world where some idiot can get a budget for a movie about a haunted swimming pool, even if it's a dog shit film. That adds nothing to the horror lexicon. It's pretty funny. Not the movie, but the idea of that. To be honest, I felt like I just wasted like 8 hours of my life watching this movie, writing a script, and recording this now. But maybe it won't be a waste if you guys subscribe to the channel. Anyway, Night Swim sucks. So I'm gonna go find something else to work on and watch. I figured this would be a fun little short movie to talk about, only a single movie, and make a short quick video about a dumb haunted swimming pool movie. Thanks for watching though. If you made it this far into the video, thank you. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you next time. Later.